Hello, welcome to Axiom Flux News on the 10th of March 2015. I've got the STAV and the Blackhole Bridger on board. How are we all doing, guys? How are we doing?
Oh, all right, PJ.
All right, thanks, PJ.
Good stuff. Well, I'll take you into my flux for today. This is my first articles kicking us off on the evacuations in Colombia as a 6.6 earthquake shakes the capital. This is the map reference showing you roughly the areas affected by this earthquake today. A magnitude 6.6 earthquake has hit the Colombian capital of Bogota, prompting mass evacuations from the city's buildings. Strong and prolonged tremors sparked panic and a social media storm. The Colombian Geological Survey reported that the tremors originated from the Santander department area and were 158 kilometers deep. The earthquake was an estimated magnitude of 6.6. So, a few images on this one. According to the US Geological Survey, the earthquake was centered about 9 miles north of Arataca, which is about 175 miles north of Bogota. The epicenter was reportedly 91 miles deep. The USGS revised the earthquake to a magnitude of 6.2. No damage or casualties were immediately reported. That's not to say that there is any, or there is not any. There's a video here. I'm going to show you what it's like in a 6.2 earthquake over in Colombia.
I have no video of this end, PJ.
Temblando, marica. Mire las lámparas. Marica, ¿qué es ese temblor? Ay, jueputa. Ay, marica, qué temblor tan hijueputa. Está temblando en este momento. Sigue temblando. Miren la lámpara, mírenla. Ay, marica, nos vamos a morir, marica.
Well, don't know what kicked it off, what started this earthquake. Could be many things. Probably all that fracking talk we did last night, Blackhole.
It could have been.
Residents reported on Twitter that tremors were felt in several Colombian cities and posted photos of people rushing into the streets and waiting outside houses, cafes and shopping centres. There were reports that cell phone networks were completely jammed in the capital minutes after the earthquake struck. Local media said the quake was felt in the second biggest city of Medellin, as well as in several Venezuelan cities near the border. We know of no serious impacts up to now. Oscar Ivan Marquez of the Presidency's Risk Management Office said, as quoted by Reuters, risk management staff. I think that's a job for old Blunkett, don't you think? He likes his risk assessment and management and it's nice over there, don't you think? I don't really see much of Colombia, but it does actually look pretty nice. Well, that's the breaking news on the earthquake over there. Just thought I'd chuck that in to start us off.
Cocaine economy, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's actually another article today what I haven't got, but I'll just mention it. Going back to this one. It's actually extreme poverty. It's killing loads. A lot of children have died. I think just the past few days there's been at least 20 but they're asking United Nations to look into it and try to do something about it. But yeah, poverty over in Colombia, even though it's got so many rich resources, shall we say. The next one is the G4S posts 148 million profit despite countless human rights scandals. No change for the Group 4 then, or as many other names as they've been known by, but I'll not go into them. The British private security giant G4S has announced a pre-tax profit of 148 million for 2014 last year. Owing to its growing foreign expansion, RT took a closer look at the firm's controversial track record. G4S saw its revenues from emerging markets overseas grow by 7.7%, with developing countries accounting for almost a third of the company's business in 2014. However, the firm saw a 1.3% drop in revenue from the UK and Ireland. The British firm's shifting focus to developing countries is evident by the spike in income from Latin American countries, which leaped 11.8% of 2014 last year. The figures represent a reversal of fortune as the firm made a £190 million loss in 2013. G4S remains a controversial player in the security sector. Activists accuse it of turning a blind eye to overcharging, cost-cutting, negligence and human rights abuses. While G4S has an ethical policy framework in place, evidence suggests a significant gap between its commitments on paper and its practices. The firm publishes a list of its corporate social responsibility indicators online. Alongside each indicator, G4S states whether it conducts a full or a partial report into the issue. According to its website, G4S does not conduct full reports into how its business activities impact on human rights. In fact, G4S do not conduct any full reports into the three indicators which are categorized under human rights: child labour, forced labour, and the share of the firm's operations that have been subject to human rights reviews. Corporate Watch keeps tabs on G4S, publishing many of the accusations levied against the security giant. A spokesperson for the charity told RT, G4S has been involved in countless scandals over the last few years, from the death of Angolan refugee Jimmy Mabenga during a deportation flight to the supplying of security equipment to Israeli prisons. However, the company continues to expand into more countries. Hillary, executive director of War on Want, called on organisations to think twice before offering G4S contracts. We know that G4S has already lost millions of dollars in contracts as a result of the growing wave of popular actions against it, he told RT. We call on all those looking to sign new contracts with G4S to check out the company's ethical record and to rethink their intentions accordingly. Mindful of the firm's failure to fully investigate its ethical practices, RT compiled a list of past instances G4S has broken standards. So in the UK, manslaughter charges. The G4S made national headlines in October 2010 when the Angolan deportee Jimmy Mabenga died after being restrained on a British Airways plane shortly before takeoff. 3 guards employed by the firm were charged with manslaughter but found not guilty after a 6-week trial in December late last year. Human rights violations. An elderly man was handcuffed to a G4S prison officer for 8 days in March 2012 despite having just suffered a heart attack. Peter McCormack, 79, bloody hell, was only released when he had an heart operation. Judge Graham Wood ordered G4S to pay compensation for breaching McCormack's human rights. Overcharging government. In 2013, G4S was forced to pay out 109 million after an audit found it overcharged the British government for electronic prisoner tags. Is this the incident, guys, where they were tagging the dead? It was cleared by the Cabinet Office in April 2014, which said the firm had taken positive steps to change its practices. Israel and Palestine. Alleged international law violations. Corporate Watch accused G4S of violating Articles 76, 66 and 49 of the 4th Geneva Convention for transferring prisoners from the occupied territories to Israeli prisons. The company also allegedly provides equipment to Israeli police forces and a prison in the occupied West Bank. In South Africa, prison abuse claims. G4S guards were accused of torturing inmates at Mwangwang Maximum Security Prison in South Africa in October 2013. Researchers at Wits University interviewed prisoners who said they were given electric shocks and beaten. G4S denied the allegations, saying it has a zero-tolerance policy to torture. Over in Australia, fined for negligence. G4S was fined 285,000 Australian dollars for its role in the death of the Aboriginal elder, Mr. Ward, who suffered heat stroke while being transported in the back of a van without air conditioning in 40-degree heat. The company pleaded guilty to failing to ensure Mr. Ward's health and safety. Fined for negligence. I'd reword that, but yeah. I'm sure you're thinking of what I'm thinking of, if you agree. So that's it for the G4S.
Well, it's only one, do they get any contracts at all after the Olympics debacle in London?
I've seen them firsthand, and it's not subject, but let's just say they're just a bunch of untrained, ordinary people with some black clothing on that I came across. They were just young lads. They were just young lads who got, it was the only job that they could get at the time, and that is it. But
yeah, they're going to sit and do an 8-day course, paperwork course, and then they'll get the certificate. They'll apply for the SIA license, and once they've got that, boom, they're out there. G4S snatch him up, and things like this happen.
Anyway, yeah, that's
Okay,
yeah.
Next one. Irish loophole makes drugs legal for a day. Politicians are expected to pass emergency laws after a court struck down an existing ban on drugs, including ecstasy and ketamine. But that's just not the only ones, because ecstasy is among more than 100 substances affected by the ruling. More than 100 substances, including ecstasy and ketamine, have effectively been legalised in Ireland, but not for long. The country's parliament is due to sit late on Tuesday to pass emergency drug control laws after a ruling in the Court of Appeal found a section of the country's current drug legislation was unconstitutional. Drugs affected include ecstasy, ketamine, so-called benzos or benzodiazepines, and legalize. Memorandum for the new legislation confirms all substances controlled by means of government orders made under the Section 2 cease to be controlled with immediate effect, and their possession ceases to be an offence. Many other drugs, including heroin, cocaine and cannabis, are banned under separate laws and not affected by the ruling. New laws are expected to be debated by politicians tonight and rush through the Senate on Wednesday morning before being signed into law by President Michael D. Higgins. But they will only come into force from midnight on Thursday, meaning the drugs are effectively legal for a period of more than 36 hours between the court ruling and the emergency laws taking effect. The ruling came during the prosecution of a man for possession of the, I hate these words, methylethacathalol, which was among a number of substances added to the controlled drugs the controlled drugs list in 2010. Stanislav Bedorov, who denies having the substance for supplying in 2012, brought a legal challenge arguing the way the government went about adding drugs to the ban list was unconstitutional. His lawyers successfully argued the decision to ban a particular drug should have been considered by the Irish Parliament before the relevant minister could confirm a ban. The ruling also raises questions about criminal prosecution stretching back almost 40 years under the previous law. So if your name's George Osborne, you might want to take a quick £20 flight over to Ireland.
It wouldn't be for Guinness.
Well, you never know. Take Farage with him. I know Obama. Obama will get him drinking Guinness, surely. ISIS threatened to destroy Egyptian pyramids, and this is just from the Your News wire. ISIS have called on the Muslim world to destroy Egypt's iconic Sphinx and pyramids, saying it is time for Muslims to erase the Pharaoh's heritage. Although there's a spelling mistake there, I do believe it's Pharaoh's. Although the ancient monuments are not religious, but rather cultural and historic sites, they should still be destroyed by Muslims, putting an end to the worship of images, preacher Ibrahim al-Kandari said, according to the Al-Watan Daily. Another call for the destruction of Egypt's main symbols comes from the Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who suggested the demolition of the historic monuments is a religious duty. Al-Alam News reported on Sunday, in the extreme interpretations of Islam, no material object should be idolized or worshipped. It comes amid growing concerns over the safety of many other historic and architectural monuments in the region, where militants continue to destroy ancient cities and artifacts. Only last week, the Islamic State reportedly destroyed and looted the ancient Assyrian city of Der Sharikan in northern Iraq, demolished the remains of the ancient city of Atra, and bulldozed the city of Nimrud near Mosul. The assault on the latter has already been compared by archaeologists to the Taliban's destruction of the Burmese borders in 2001. In 2012, an Egyptian cleric also issued a fatwa calling to rid the country of its pyramids and the Sphinx. The member of the radical Salafi movement said he wanted the antiquities demolished, as Prophet Muhammad destroyed the idols in Mecca, and demanded Egyptian tourism ministry be abolished, comparing the industry to prostitution and debauchery. The religious ruling was denounced by Egyptian officials and scholars who claimed the site was part of the country's cultural, not religious, heritage. Attacks on the Sphinx date back centuries, despite many legends surrounding the monument's missing nose, with harm from Napoleon's cannon being among the most popular myths. Historians believe it was actually destroyed by Sufi Muslim Muhammad Saim al-Dar in the 14th century, after he learned that some peasants worshipped the Sphinx. So what do you think to that? Is it just an additional article on basically what's been going off in Assyrian city? Or do you think this is could take place soon?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I can't really see it happening.
No, I think they would have done it, wouldn't they, if they'd have done it, whoever ISIS are.
Yeah, I thought, well, There's always people there, and if they ain't, they've only got a McDonald's across the road, so someone's going to see it, aren't they? They might not hear it, because I've been told that the deaf people are working that McDonald's over in Cairo, Egypt.
Oh, are they?
Apparently. So they're not going to hear much, but they'll probably see it.
Maybe.
Why don't they reverse the roles? Yeah? On the hamburger joints and leave the pyramids alone.
That's it. Destroy the McDonald's. Get rid of that. It's more religious than anything else. My next article. Predators at large. But not like we didn't know. Hundreds of UK paedophiles missing. New figures have indicated. This is hundreds of registered sex offenders are missing in the UK. Registered, not the ones that are suspected. According to new figures, some have been at large for over 10 years, over a decade. A Freedom of Information request by the Press Association has revealed that the whereabouts of 396 convicted offenders are unknown to police. This is despite the legal requirement that they be monitored by police and report any change of address to the authorities. The answer to a further request by the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children indicates that in England and Wales that just 900 police officers were expected to deal with over 45,000 offenders. Yep, get your head around that. According to the charity, half of those on the sex offences register have been found guilty of rape or sexual assault against a child. John Brown, who heads the NSPCC's sexual abuse programmes, told the Guardian newspaper the monitoring of registered sex offenders in communities needs urgent attention by the government to ensure it is fit for purpose. Some of these offenders have committed the most serious of sexual offences against children, but even the risk posed by offenders classed as lower risk can increase quickly because of dynamic factors such as a relationship breakdown or a relapse into substance misuse. In January, the Ministry of Justice published figures showing that hundreds of sex offenders are being given lenient punishments by British judges despite committing abhorrent crimes against children. And on the reverse scale of that, I know it's a bit quick to comment, but you know, it just suddenly brought to mind people like Melanie Shaw again. You know, you could be the one that has this stuff happen to you, and then you end up doing time for it. Official figures suggest hundreds of sex offenders have been let off with cautions, despite the law saying they should face jail sentences of up to 14 years. According to the ministry, there have been 7,057 cautions handed to sex offenders in the UK since 2009. The figures come as authorities investigate allegations of historic child abuse during the 1970s and 1980s, including a suspected elite paedophile ring consisting of former and serving British politicians. And that's when it brings, you know, Ben Fellows into mind. Philip Davies, the Tory MP who disclosed the figures, said sex offenders were not feeling the full force of the law. It is completely unacceptable to give cautions for sexual activity with children under the age of 13, he said. There are no mitigating factors and no excuses. They should go before a judge.
And they're a danger to the public. They should be locked up. They are a danger to the public.
Why don't people do citizen's arrest and find out who these people are? Because if they've already been convicted and registered and known and give, you know, then they surely then people have got the power.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that hardly do anything wrong locked up, while these people that are a danger to the public are running off free.
I mean, I can't get my head around this article. I really can't. I struggle to bend my head towards thinking of what he's trying to say, but it just it baffles me. It really does.
Mm.
Well, it doesn't mean when it says something like that about, what's it, some of these have managed to avoid detection for 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
Well, that's a drop in the ocean compared to a certain bloke, which was 5 decades, Jimmy Savile.
Yeah. Well, that bit, I understand, but
They
you've got it.
shouldn't be let out on license in the first place, so we can't keep track on them. They should be locked up. They are a danger to society.
Hmm.
If somebody kept on drinking loads of alcohol, and kept getting his car and driving it, it wouldn't be a few jots of getting caught that he'd be locked away.
Yeah, be locked up. Yeah.
So
Abuse
what is the
children.
difference between a bad case of an alcoholic that keeps on driving
Yeah.
and a sex offender that's ruining people's lives for the rest of their lives, from early childhood right up into late adulthood? Some never regain from that.
No. Well, I think it's disgusting. 900 police officers were expected to deal with over 45,000 offenders. Yeah.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be dealing with it. These people shouldn't be let out on license. They shouldn't be let out.
And they're out and large, aren't they?
While they're out at large, they are a menace
But they've
to
got-
society.
But they've got room for Melanie Shaw and Ben Fellows and all these others.
Yeah, yeah.
But they've got no room to
They've
put,
got room for the innocent people or the people who barely do anything wrong or don't hurt anybody. And if somebody says sexually abusing somebody isn't hurting them, I beg to differ totally with them, and I'll take them to task on it here and now if they want to confront me with it.
Yeah, UK child kidnappings and abductions soar by 13%. Well, that's enough on that one because it starts to get me a bit winded up a bit. So I'll move on to this, which is not much better really in terms of what's being put across. But beautifulpeople.com is a dating website. It gives boot to thousands for being ugly. 3,000, I think it is. So a website that's designed to get people dating. Thousands of users were rejected and being banned for being unattractive. So as the image shows you there, if you don't look like that, then don't bother applying. A dating site that exclusively caters to beautiful singles kicked out thousands of users for being too ugly. Owners of the aptly named beautifulpeople.com admitted to giving the boot to 3,000 members for letting themselves go. But the website's founders say they did so with a heavy heart. This may sound harsh, and it is the most difficult part of managing the business, said Genevieve Hodge, who founded the website with her husband Greg, according to the newspaper. We take no pleasure in removing members, but it is a necessary evil in order to maintain the beautiful community and our prized business model, she continued. The Hodges launched beautifulpeople.com in Denmark in 2002 and within a few years gained an international following of 800,000. Unsurprisingly, access is limited, with newbies having to be voted in by other users if they are beautiful and actually look in real life as they do online, the website reads. To when some 3,000 members, mostly American, were determined to have gained weight or aged ungracefully, they received an email saying they would be better off on a dating site for, check this, ordinary people. Letting unattractive people populate the site would compromise the very concept for which beautifulpeople.com was founded, Greg Hodge said. But the good news is the rejects can rejoin the site in the future as long as they come back looking their best. What do you think to that, guys? This is true. This isn't no made-up article. This is true.
I thought these people were looking for love. I thought these people were looking for love, not looks. Or is it just looks that shallow? They're just looking for looks.
We're looking for that. If you haven't got that, don't bother applying.
It looks like he's been stung by a load of wasps. Look at that. That ain't real anyway. It doesn't matter if it is or not, does it? It just doesn't look... Yeah, it depends what they mean by beautiful. Of course, you could be the ugliest, wickedest basket in the world, but if you look right, then that's beautiful. It's rubbish, isn't it? What a total load of all crap.
Yeah.
But I should imagine it's true, PJ, because that's what people think now, you know.
Oh, it's definitely true. Yeah.
I can't comment on the pictures this end because I'm getting no pictures whatsoever this end.
Oh, you're not.
It's a good job.
Maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It looks like he's got a hoodie. Has he got a hoodie on? He has, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a hoodie on, yeah.
What's that got to do? What the? Yeah.
What do you think it's really promoting, this website? Is it really promoting beautiful people to, you know, socialise and perhaps date? Or do you think there's more?
Probably on the bottom of the website, it's smothered in beauty product adverts, which they get paid and all that crap.
Yeah, well, I haven't been to the website. As such. I thought I'd save me time. I didn't want to be disappointed, you know. So I thought, you know, rather than go and probably hang myself after I get an email saying I'm not good enough,
well,
I thought I'd just not bother.
I would change it to sad people.
You didn't want to put anybody's nose out of joint with your astounding looks, did you, mate?
Sadpeople.com.
Yeah, sadpeople.com. That's it, Andy. I like that one.
People. Yes, yeah.
Hashtag sadpeople.com.
I'll go with that.
Everybody get tweeting it. I'm good at that, Andy. Well, that's all I've got for the Flux.
Alright. I've got one little quick article. We won't spend too much time on it. It just relates to that.
Is it a screen share or is it just an audio verbal one?
I can screen share it if you want.
Yeah, it's up to you. I was just thinking, wasn't sure if it were an article you had or just something you were going to discuss with us.
Just there. Have you got that?
Yeah, I've got that.
Oh, I've got that one.
Alright. Obama declares new national emergency, signs executive order as America tips past point of no return with 2016 election possibly in peril. With Chicago's Homeland Square black site suggesting that America has gone past the point of no return towards full-scale third world dictatorship, Barack Obama has just declared his latest national emergency, issuing and signing an executive order that declares the nation of Venezuela a national security threat and ordering sanctions against 7 Venezuelan government officials while leaving signs that he has no plans to leave office himself in January 2017, nor allow Americans another election in 2016. According to this linked WND story, coincidentally or not, the nation of Venezuela is now installing 20,000 fingerprint scanners into their supermarkets to prevent panic buying in the economically ailing country, as shared in more detail further down in this story, confirming more on the coming of the beast system into our world. While all news pipeline has been unable to confirm at this moment the allegations made in the first video below, Freedom Fighter 2127, that more CIA-style back sites have been discovered in Chicago, as also alleged in this linked story from the Video Rebels blog. We can clearly see that the end game is here as America surrenders military while preparing for war against its own citizens right here in our backyards, as in the first US dictatorship comes creeping in. With martial laws, drills being disputed as welfare, checks in South Carolina, as shared in the second video below from Nate. We point out towards this September 2014 warning given by 2016 presidential contender Ben Carson, who tells us the 2016 elections may never be allowed to happen, while pointing out a few of the many aspects of disrespect that Obama has for American laws and tradition, leading to the fear that elections of 2016 are an event never meant to happen. It goes on here to say about why he thinks whatever. But the important thing is a video here. I won't play it, but it shows you it's a Cartoon News Network one actually, which is quite surprising. And also it's this one here. Well, it's 60% inflation it's running at the moment, and a carton of milk is $50. Even the rich people are struggling to get food there. It's a complete total collapse. Obama's plans with the crash in the oil prices and all the rest of it and everything with the Saudis, etc. It's not just about Ukraine, it's about a lot of other countries, I think. And this will go into rampant inflation very soon, and you're talking over 1,000%. I think by this time next year we'll be looking at another case of Zimbabwe for Venezuela. And it's funny that you opened your
we're going to be seeing no but ketchup on shelves in there. Is it going to be another one like that?
Yep. It's going to be $1 million Zimbabwe dollars to buy a loaf of bread. Remember that?
I do, yeah.
It'll be Venezuelan one. Well, I just brought that up because you mentioned about Venezuela as well, with the earthquake next to Colombia, and well, yeah.
And also the poverty, child poverty in Colombia as well.
Yeah, well, Venezuela's pretty much like it now.
Yeah. Do you want to scroll down a minute, Andy? Because I'm sure I just picked up on something that you didn't read out. That's it, yeah. It says a bit further up. Oh, that's it there. It says by appointing dozens of stars without seeking Senate confirmation. Is that not what David Cameron did at all?
Yeah.
By getting his A3 favourites and all the others.
Yeah, well, don't forget Alan Sugar was a business czar. Do you remember?
Yeah.
All that rubbish.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I think there's a few people, a few theories about Obama being the last president of America, of the USA. And then the New World Order will come in and whatever. I think it's all being definitely played out for.
Well, people have been saying quite often lately, and more often, about the Queen being the last reigning monarch.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
Or possibly could be.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she is.
Well, you know the bond markets took a hit, was it Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took a big hit on Friday. And the Euro's being trashed, as well as the British sterling, the pound apparently is going down the pan again. So, yeah, I think it's all coming to a head. This year's election will be will just be a comedy of whatever it's going to be.
Well, it's all been orchestrated this way. It's all been orchestrated. The whole caboodle.
Yeah. I just think it looks like it's fast approaching whatever's coming about, whatever these megalomaniacs have thought to do with a new world order, in which shape, size, and how it's going to come in. But anyway, yeah, there's a few videos, and that, you know, of course, Venezuela's only got oil. It's got plenty of it. Of course, they've crashed the price. Of course, rampant inflation, that's the only thing they've got, isn't it? Commodity is oil. Of course, this bottoms fell out of it, so they've got rampant inflation, and it will get, well, it's not rampant, but it's over 60% at the moment. But it will go into silly numbers real soon. And I think Venezuela will not only be the only South American country to struggle as well. I think Brazil will be rocking and rolling soon. I know we know Argentina's up the creek without a paddle, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, according to fiat currency loans.
And Russia is bad off.
Yeah, this is a multi-pronged attack currency war by the Federal Reserve. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's what all the quantitative easing was about. Quantitative easing is just the method of siphoning assets from the people into the rich pockets.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I'll just put that up as a late thing. What was on that? That's a Facebook thing, isn't it? What's that doing on there?
I'm back on Facebook.
No, I looked at opening it up. It's not my account, but I was fooling around with something. Yeah.
Alright, well, that's interesting news there to add on to the article I had.
Yeah.
Mm.
This Facebook here is an account I opened up ages ago, and I've forgotten all about it. I had 7 accounts on Facebook, PJ.
7? You must have loved Mark Zuckerberg.
What was that? I had up to all sorts of things, and this one I've just forgot about, and I've got to close it down. So I pulled it up, so it's got to be closed down. It's the last one. Lucky now, I forgot all about the others.
Every time he opened up a new Facebook account, PJ, he got a letter from Mark Zuckerberg sealed with a kiss, mate.
So there we go. So that one's gone now. That's that finished. Fuck off now. Right, so there we go.
Yep, that's all I've got. So do join us again tomorrow, hopefully for some more Flux news, and we will be covering the general election starting within the next coming days. I'm going to be bringing reports from Dom. He's going to be coming on the panel to discuss the party policies of pretty much all of them. Trying not to be too biased, but you know, we'll give as good shots at that as we can for what it's worth. But until next time, take care for now, and do join us again tomorrow. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Catch you tomorrow.